He's one hell of a man. What are you doing, mate?
What do you mean?
Is that all for you, is it?
Well, it's...
Do you not eat during the week? You just basically wait.
They've just launched... Hey, don't touch my food.
It smells really good. What is it?
What is
It's
it?
It actually smells really good.
It's Popeye's chicken. They just...
Popeye's chicken in New Zealand.
Yeah, they just launched in New Zealand. DoorDash are the only ones that do it, and they've given me all this food.
Look, you're actually shaking because
I'm so excited.
I've given you all this food.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
What?
He's got the little hand.
My dog does that.
Are you hungover?
This was the only time.
His tail would be going like this,
The
wouldn't
only
it?
time you could eat it was right now.
You have got new shoes on as well.
Look, let's
God,
move away from
They
me.
sponsor it. They-
Let's move away from me, please.
You'd be about 6 or 7 in those, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'm normally 6'5", but
Yeah.
chucking a couple of inches.
You're normally 6'5".
Jeez.
Well, not really, 6'3".
Yeah, 6'5" now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite
So
extraordinary.
is that a
You-
guy?
you
Is that
can't-
a guy thing? Just to always just add a little bit. It is.
Not just your height, either.
No. Just across the board in
Yeah.
general. Is it like
You always round up.
Always round up.
I think
Always.
that's the
Yeah.
common
Yeah.
sort of thread.
with the height, with weight?
Well, no. Weight. What he's trying to do is lengthen. So he's saying if I'm 140 kilos and I'm
It's
6'5",
spread over a better platform.
What would you expect? You know.
That's why guys were never that good at maths, because always rounding up.
Yeah.
They've never got a kite accent.
What's that noise, Leigh? What's that
What is that
humming
humming?
noise that's going on?
Just recharging some sex toys in the bit. That's sort of diesel powered.
It's the massage bed. How many have you got? 'Cause you've got
There's
a
quite a
generator
few.
going. by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sound of it.
If I have power cuts, you see, I need to
Yeah.
go back
Do
to
we-
diesel.
Do you use a jackhammer as a sex toy by any chance?
Oh, no.
Just say.
The main issue, like,
Seldom do you say things that I find actually grossly offensive.
Yeah.
but-
Let's...
Sounds
No,
like
we're
what
just...
you're recharging
Yeah.
in
the
there.
main issue of the fumes. You got to open the window.
Right. Anyway, back to sport.
You don't want someone to get carbon monoxide poisoning when you're trying to, when you're trying. It's just not a good.
All right. Okay. I'm going to try and bring this back somehow.
We start again.
No. Let's no, because we're not going to edit this. I've decided we're not going to edit this
So
show.
that's the noise, anyway.
Okay, so Macca, you gave the netballers no chance of winning, and then they went on to win the next two, and they just won the series.
Well, some things you
love
get
that.
wrong. I gave the Black Caps no chance of winning a second test either.
I also think sometimes when you put that out there, it gives them motivation.
motivation,
You know what's been really good is they talked
You're
about.
responsible for winning, basically.
It could be said. I mean, it's the same theory that we applied to your
reverse
weight loss,
psychology.
Right.
Which was, if you offer abuse, sometimes it sort of hooks in and gets under the skin.
I think that in the modern times,
You haven't, though. You've just basically turned from glutton to absolute gluttonous, heathen.
I actually think in the modern times that shaming and abusing people to try and get change is no longer fashionable.
It worked for you, didn't it? I mean, we've kept you in check within reason.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I thought that I, would be a little bit more insightful in the betting with the TAB this week, because I was so supportive of the Silver Ferns. But I couldn't put a bet on them because by the time we had played the show, they'd already played the game. So I put a lot of money on the Kiwis to win the against Australia, which they didn't.
I heard that was in the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yesterday.
They played well.
How did we go?
We played well, but we lost. It was close. They scored a try at the end. And then I put a lot of money on the Yankees to beat the Dodgers. They lost. But I did win some money back for
When you
us.
say a lot of money.
Well, $20. It's a lot of money for me.
Yeah.
I put some money on Jonah Nakamura to score for Japan against the All Blacks, and he did. So we won something.
Yeah, that's good. That would have been good odds too. What'd you
Yeah.
put? Nothing on it though.
Yeah, I put $10, $20.
Okay.
So
So we're ahead
So we'll spread all that out later, will we?
because he would have been
Yeah.
paying about $8.
no, he was paying about $3. He's a winger.
Yeah, but he's a Japanese winger against the All Blacks.
Yeah, no, times have changed since you played Japan, mate.
So a 50-50 team, wasn't it? Japanese and other.
Yeah, well, there's a
cultures.
lot of other cultures playing rugby.
Do
and,
they not have
yeah.
a sort of a cap of how many they can have from other?
Yeah, well, these are people that have spent a lot of time in Japan.
Yeah,
it's
but
not- it's
how?
still
It's a
not
good
different.
question, though. In the World Cup, are they allowed to have a similar
Yep.
lineup?
Yeah, as long as you do the international qualifications.
I just meant if you went to a
No, it's 5
Japanese
years.
restaurant, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had
and
a
doesn't-
Fijian chef. You'd
there's
be a little bit
and
worried.
There's no Japanese people working in there. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'm just wondering how authentic the food might be.
Yeah,
It'd make a beautiful kokonda, but, you know, maybe
Yeah.
the sushi.
Well,
Well, yeah,
you're going to carry on with this, aren't you?
I don't know. It's just, it seems to come up every week.
Yeah.
And then, ironically, we
Yes.
had
Yeah.
Auckland play Sydney in the football,
Yeah.
and we had an Asian captain.
Japanese captain playing for Auckland.
Yeah.
Like, it's the world, mate. It's,
It is.
you know, it's...
Yeah, but that's a provincial team, isn't it? It's not a national representative side.
Anyway, there we got that out.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you remember when Marc got drunk on the show? Not last week, really drunk on the other shows.
No, I don't remember a damn thing about it.
Oh, there were
You
a few
asking me?
times. There was
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Because what I found is
Must have been before my time.
what happened the show after.
Just got over this, right? Like the years have passed. Nobody knows about it, you know? There's a whole generation of people who've, you know, because it's
Yeah.
that old that people have forgotten about.
Gotten. Okay.
Said, you know, overexertion at a particular business lunch, and the net result of which was pretty poor behaviour
Well,
on the whole, by today's standards.
Well, by those standards also. And the thing is,
And it was on national TV, like that was out, you know, that they had some sort of modicum of decency required.
which
and,
you ignored.
And well, it was, you know, not, you know,
Well,
I
what you
remember
got away
speaking
with-
to you the next day and saying, look, how bad was it?
We told everyone that you were acting, and everyone was just like, Jesus, he's such a good actor. And they just believed it.
Yeah,
Just people-
perfect.
people-
And now,
we
many
had
years
real
go by, and we
integrity.
can tell the truth.
Do you remember what?
Now they realise you're not such a good actor.
Do you remember what your punishment was?
No.
Have a look. Have a look
blurred
at this.
that over.
Have a look at this. This is your punishment. We learnt some very important lessons over the last week, and when a sporting role model goes astray, there can be only one punishment, and I feel a public flogging. So, mistress, please.
Is that really right?
It's all fun and games, guys, but as long as only one person gets hurt. Marc, we've seen you in a tight place before, but I can't believe he's still got his pants on. Can someone remove his pants? Let's take a look at what he got up to over the weekend.
Did you say could someone remove his pants?
Well, a public flogging should be a proper flogging, and he probably deserved to have. And ironically, I'm sitting there going, I can't believe we did that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm amazed that
Where'd you get the stocks from?
we didn't
We just happen to have some.
roll into another big round the next week. I quite enjoyed that, I think. Look at it.
Yeah, that's just not.
Usually pay through the nose, so that's sort of,
I don't remember that at all.
no.
It's amazing, eh? That
Yeah.
we don't remember anything that we did, and we did it for like 12 years.
I just think it's part of the human ability to just remove.
Knock it out.
Yeah, just completely.
Yeah.
You know, it's like sensory overload. You just remove it from your memory.
Well, there was something else that you,
Plug and drain it.
there was something else that you mentioned last week, which you did remember, interviewing Elle McPherson.
Yeah, true. That was,
Yeah. Well,
Highlight?
I managed to find it. Here we go.
oh, look at that.
Well, Elle, on behalf of TAB Sports Cafe, welcome to New Zealand,
Wonderful to be here.
and very, very kind of you to come all this way for an interview.
Thank you very much.
I come bearing gifts. Being a good Kiwi bloke, I've went out diving yesterday
Yes.
and managed to track down a couple of little mollusks for you. So,
look at that.
indeed. You're
This
a
is-
keen diver yourself, I understand.
Look at these are fabulous. Can I have these for lunch?
You may indeed. Do you have to watch what you eat to an extent?
No.
Now, what about, this is a question I need an answer to. What about Hugh Hefner? Have you managed to get invited to one of his parties with your
I have
extensive
actually.
contacts?
I was invited.
I think we're actually touching
there.
there.
For a Christmas party.
I
Didn't
don't know.
go.
Oh no, you
I
turned
didn't
down
go.
Hugh. How?
I didn't.
That's
Well,
gotta be
if I'd
the
known that you
epitome.
would have wanted to go, I would have sent the invitation right over to you.
Well, please.
Next time,
Get
and
black
I'll
eye.
send it with like the ears and the whole tail. You can go as a bunny.
I insist. Good. I've been wanting to get my hands on an invitation to one of Hugh's parties.
That's not good.
Look at the way you're
Look at the
dressed.
body language though. This.
Your legs.
Yeah, I'm
Couldn't lean in anymore.
Now, tell me,
That'd
you
be good.
use a few of the Australian models, don't you? The blokes from
Absolutely.
the sporting environment.
Absolutely.
Have you ever contemplated using a few sportsmen from New Zealand to model your gear?
Well, do you know what? I'm thinking about my whole new campaign, and I think I'd like to have a very sports-orientated campaign for menswear particularly.
Because we've
So
got
I'm going to have to do my research as to who I should use.
You
Any
sh-
ideas?
Well, I do actually.
Yes.
Funnily enough.
Who?
Well, it's the human
Good idea,
cannibal.
that's overstepping.
He's
the
a
mark,
legend
isn't
in these parts.
Really?
Big ginger man, ginger-headed bloke,
Yes.
an Adonis type of figure.
Right.
Stunning looking bloke. He holds a record for human projectiling, 64 buses.
Really?
And he happens to...
Yeah, but what if something happened to him and he was like the lead of my campaign and then the next thing he was stopped short of a bus or something?
well, you've got to live on the edge, don't you?
That's true. Got to take a risk.
Oh, if you've got a set of white front
What's your most comfortable size if you're forgetting?
Medium.
Yeah, large probably.
Large, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's definitely got that look like, oh my God.
Well, pretty rather excited with the way that went. And I've offered to eat the crayfish with her. And to be honest, she's accepted. So if you can turn that off and push off, I'd appreciate it.
I think it's for you.
Why?
I don't know why Ralph would be. Why would you take Ralph with you to see Elle McPherson?
Well, just in case it went poorly, and you need to diffuse it with a bit of humour. He was obviously very excited, as always, Ralph,
Yeah,
wasn't
he was.
Geez, I don't remember that going quite as well as it did.
Do you think that went well?
Yeah, I thought there was definitely some chemistry.
Some
there.
tension.
She, yeah,
Worse, put it that way, could have been worse.
she was definitely one to boot people out if she wasn't having a good time.
Yeah,
He was.
a little touch. I didn't remember that. That's
You remember it now, though.
yeah. I'll take that to my grave.
Yeah, nice. Now, on the show, going back to try and remember what we did, who do you think was our guest that was on probably the most?
The Gimp.
Yeah, the human cannibal, the gimp. Leigh
No, we're not-
made a career of it.
Not counting the people that worked for us. Guests, sports people that were a guest. You wouldn't think it's the guy on screen that we're looking at, like
Oh, there you go.
Chris Cairns.
Yeah, he would have been on a fair few times.
You're on a lot, Chris. Welcome.
Really? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, bloody good if you get invited back that many times.
Yeah.
Good to see you, mate.
Thanks, Macca. Good to see you, mate.
Running a nice little Kenny Rogers there, fella.
Kenny
Funny
Rogers.
you can sing, eh?
Thanks, mate.
It's been a long time since I have seen you, probably a couple of decades.
Correct. It's been a long time. And it has. And I've been watching you guys coming back, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of New Zealanders that we're all glad you're doing it. So you guys were an institution during that time, and it's wonderful to see you all back together.
Like I said earlier, in many ways, we're still an institution. In many ways, just a different type of institution.
Institutionalised.
Yeah.
Working our way comfortably.
You know, of all the people that came on the show, your life's changed the most. You know, what's the latest with your health? You know, you went through such a incredible, horrific, tough time.
Have we got? This is a 2-hour show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, look, you know, I'm a big advocate, Ricardo, for, you know, life. It is what it is. And for me, I'm lucky to be here, really. I should be dead. What I went through a few years ago with the aortic dissection, I was very, very lucky to survive that. And then it's a sort of keeping it brief. What happened after that was getting through that, suffering a spinal stroke, which sort of put me in a wheelchair. And then I threw in a little bit of bowel cancer, and then sort of managing to rehab, get back into life via the wheelchair, but with other things that now sort of help me to be a bit more mobile. And then I sort of threw in a heart attack mid-year this year. So someone's trying very hard to end it for me, but for some reason, I'm sort of still here. So I'm I view myself as being extremely lucky, mate. At the end of the day, I've got 5 beautiful kids. My focus is on that, watching them grow, watch them evolve. And so that's where my life is now.
Mate, I following on social media and watching you go from that wheelchair to thinking about rehabbing and then suddenly to see you up and about, you know, walking with the help of sort of like a brace and some crutches.
Walking to a bar, no less. That was pretty inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, how much do you think, you know, being an athlete, competitive person. Has that contributed to you, trying to achieve that?
Yeah, and Leigh, it gives you a good grounding, I mean, what it does is that I think because you know how shit rehab is and how hard it is and what it takes to get out of bed every day and to go and do it, then, I think you get a head start on perhaps, people that are going through, because there's a heap of people that go through this situation with strokes, have to rebuild. And it's not only something that affects the person, but it's with your family, whether it's your daughter, your wife, your partner, your grandkids. It's something that the whole family goes through. And I think because of the background in sport, it does mean, mate, that you've had the ability to understand the rehab side of it. But the gains, Leigh, are so small. Like when you have a stroke and you're trying to come back, and because of the atrophy in the legs and the damage that's been done to the neural pathway, it's a tough grind. And you really see small incremental movements in what you're doing. But again, it's coming back to that focus on how you endure and not what you're enduring.
What the spiritual aspect of it? It's an impossible question to fully understand from my perspective, because obviously you're in a very unique position. But the spiritual side of one's well-being, you wake up in the morning, and some people are fortunate to wake up those mornings with a smile on their face, and others don't, and they have to work on it.
Glass is half full.
Glass is half. Yeah. Do you find that as a net result of the physical atrophy, if you will, which happens to everyone in life, by the time you're 90, your body's not doing what you thought you would. Have you found that getting into the spiritual side, your actual natural ebullience and joy in life has been something that has helped, or have you had to hone in on that and focus on that aspect of life?
But firstly, can I say, fuck me. Imagine 20 years ago if you and I said we'd be sitting here discussing this as a question.
Yeah, it's impossible to conceive. But then in saying that, if we said in 50 years' time, we would be, because everyone's
100%.
body gives up on them, So how much is it body and how much is it spiritual?
Yeah, but Macca, that's a great question. It really is. And I think it comes down to that. I think as we evolve as humans, and, we all have a wonderful time in our teens and our 20s and our 30s, and we mature, and then you get to a situation where I think you just want a little more and you want to find out a little more. And I think if you're open to that, some people don't want to. And I'm a big believer in that everybody to their own, each to their own. But I think on that spiritual side, what you're saying is, I think, a growth element to understanding how things work. And that for me, mate, is where I'm at now. So, I want to try and keep myself healthy, both of mind and body, as much as I can, because I have no idea where medical advancements are going over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I'm not a religious man, but I do consider myself somebody that is spiritual with regards to understanding a bit more about energy, because I think that that's something that evolves around all of us. And so whether you're putting that element out into the universe and what you're getting back is a big part of it as well.
I think I would say that looking at your life, you've lived, 70 years worth of fun in the time that you had. And from a positive half glass full perspective, you've lived with the hammer down. So the physical aspect has just come slightly sooner. But if you looked at it on a year by year basis, you've cranked it all in.
Yeah, exactly. And you'd sort of say that sort of times a bit more to someone like Shane Warne, for example, who passed away, a year or 2 years ago. I mean, he crammed about 150 years in his sort of 50 years of life,
Like you said before, having kids as well, though, kids would be the thing that you'd focus on now, like, keeps it very real.
Yeah. And I think, if we think back to those Sports Cafe days, I'm not sure if any of us had kids or were around about that time. And so, we are in a different stage of life. And I think the people that we talked to 20 odd years ago on the show, or 25 years ago on the show, have now been through journeys with kids or death or serious illness or injury in their lives. And so, again, the conversations are different, I think, around, who we are and what we do. I just keep coming back to the fact that I'm thankful to be here, because, really, guys, I shouldn't be. So I'm very lucky.
Let's have a look at when you were on the show 120 years ago.
And I think in Daniel Vittori, Craig McMillan and Matthew Bell that we've got a three young guys coming through who have a lot of passion and play with a lot of pride for New Zealand as well. So, they do a great job.
How heavy is your bat?
What did you...
It's rather perfect.
It's a great Nichols,
right there with him.
Did you have a fairly heavy one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the old man, mate. He was 3 pound plus, like that. Big. I'm big as We'll leave the weight out of it.
You ever contemplate knocking the shoulders off it?
No, never. No, that was his thing, and he enjoyed doing that. And so, I suppose in the cricketing fraternity, he was circumcised, I suppose you could say.
Was everyone at school back in the heyday of your old man, everyone, even the opening batsman, came out with the shoulders taken off?
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty exciting stuff.
It was. I've got one at home that I've saved that I won't let him get his hands on. And because I think as much of his bat and his play is a huge part of New Zealand cricket. And,
you ever take it down to the nets and just go for the big one?
Secretly I do.
I think the point I was trying to make earlier is the older you get, the more shit happens, right? Whether you like it or not, that's just the way the world unfolds. And so I've always had amazing admiration for the 80-year-old man or woman who you see walking down the street with a bit of a spring in the step, who, when you say good morning, they're chipper and they're upbeat because they haven't woken up like that. They've decided when they got out of bed, fuck it, I'm putting a smile on my face and I'm attacking today with the right attitude.
But also too, people don't always know what your story is. They might, see an 80-year-old and go, oh, look at the silly old man, not realising that he'd fought in the war and, saved our country or whatever. I mean, everyone's got their own story. So, it sounds to me, Kenzie, that you've got a really good understanding and appreciation of life now.
Yep. Yeah. The thing is, Ricardo, I think it's different because of the situation you find yourself in. But Mac is right. It's a choice, right? When you get out of bed, I can choose to be grumpy. I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be sad. Choice is the gift that is so underrated, I think, within the human race. We can decide our response to everything. And when you come into a situation, I think, which is just magnified by what I find myself in now, then it's even more important, I think, to focus on that choice because that's what defines the day. And again, I think over the last particularly sort of 15 years for me, again, not judging people at face value, because as you quite rightly said, that older person that you saw that was in the war, or that person that's just rushed out in front of you at an intersection and nearly caused an accident, is off to the hospital because their child's just been struck by a car. So it's sort of not falling into the trap of actually seeing something or passing judgment on it with that first instance. I think that's something that you grow into, and I think it's something that is quite valuable.
Yeah, happiness is a breeder of happiness. Hey, with all of these things that have gone on, obviously you've had a bit of warfare after warfare. Are you able to work at the moment? Are you?
No, Lana, I've had a startup in sport tech for about the last 6 years, where I'm fortunate now that it doesn't require me to sort of have a physical element to what I do if I was involved as a builder or a tradesman or anything like that. So the space that I've been in for the last sort of several years has been around the integration of tech into sport. And I was discussing this earlier with Ricardo, and there's a couple of things coming online now, which is the space that I'm in. There was a UFC fight night in Vegas about 6 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago, where Dana White took UFC to the Sphere in Las Vegas. So it was an integration of technology with computer-generated graphics and having the live event there. So again, not to bore the crap out of you guys or anybody else, but that's the sort of space that I've been in for the last 6 years, and we've had some interest up in Saudi. We've got a couple of contracts up there that we're doing. So I'm very fortunate that the space I'm in allows me to sort of continue on with with how I find myself physically.
What about on the weekend? What about New Zealand beating India in a series in cricket? I mean, that's one of New Zealand sport's greatest moments, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's kind of like Aussies beating us at Eden Park in any capacity from a rugby perspective, right? Yeah. But beating India, I think we've got a bit of a chat group. So the 99 side for cricket that won in England in the Test series where we won our first ever Test match at Lord's. We've got a reunion at the Basin in about 6 weeks' time, actually. And we've had a chat group for a few months, and we were discussing this very aspect about where does it sit within sort of the New Zealand cricket landscape. I think, when you look at the international sort of tournaments, the Test win we had, the ICC win we had back in 2000, but the hardest places to win, Australia first, we believed, and then India. So the class of 24 that's just sort of won that Test series in India for the first time ever for New Zealand is a remarkable feat, given the fact that they were not actually given any hope in hell.
And the spinners are stepping up, weren't they, in the last...
Yeah, Satner got a few.
Yeah, so they're in their own game pretty much.
Yeah, it is, mate. But I mean, it's the pressure that the batters put on, right? Because the hard thing going over there, I think, bowling wise, you can do, conditions are favourable. The thing where we've always struggled previously is in the batting side and putting the runs on the board. So for Rachin Ravindra to do what he did, but remember, all of this was done without Kane Williamson as well. So that adds even more kudos, I think, to the victory, because their best player and arguably New Zealand's greatest player was not even in the side. So Ravindra, who I think is going to be a very, very special player, got runs in the first Test. Tom Latham fronted up into the second Test. So Leigh, it's the wickets, and that's really important, but it's getting that run that allows the bowlers to do what they've got to do. So it was a wonderful performance.
Mate, I think the whole of New Zealand would want to know what's a great day for Chris Cairns right now.
For me, mate, it's getting out of bed, going to the gym, working out physically, talking to my kids, doing my work, and cooking. I've bizarrely, now that I'm in a wheelchair, I've actually got into cooking more than when I was able-bodied, and mate, really just doing that for me. If I tick those elements off in a day, I'm a happy man, Macca.
Well, all right, mate.
Yeah, and also, sorry, no, Mac. Yeah, sorry, no, you go, Ricardo.
No, I was just going to say thank you so much for your time. Like, it's obviously this is quite a different interview than we've ever had you before on the show, and
very inspiring. Yeah,
really, I mean, mate, I said to you that I was sitting around having a knee replacement, sort of, and struggling. What I thought was struggling, and then I was watching you sort of getting up and getting in the gym with your crutches and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell am I moaning about? Like, so you just be aware. Not only us, but you're inspiring a lot of people with what you're doing. And I know that I know it's tough. I know every day is a challenge. But, thank you for that inspiration and thank you for coming back. It's been great to catch up.
Yeah, well done, mate.
No, thanks, mate. And look, I hope it's not been too fucking morbid. It's not
morbid. It's life.
I know,
it's
but I'm also conscious of that, right? And the fact that I know the audience and you guys, and you brought so much fun into everybody's lives, and look, this is a different part of life and whatnot. But thanks for giving me the opportunity to come on, and it's been great to rekindle what we did 25 years ago in a different space.
Can you stop saying 25 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only criticism I've got,
No, you're looking well, mate. You've got a smile on your face. It's not a little Kenny Rogers-esque.
Thanks, Macca. Thank you. And I really appreciate you guys having me on, and best of luck with the show, and it's been great.
Thanks, Kenzie. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Pretty inspirational way.
Yeah, so the last time I actually saw him, I should have mentioned it, was at Eden Park, actually. Him and Dion were trying to teach Sammy bowling, him and Mannix Brady. They would teach them, they were in the nets.
Yeah.
And, which was amazing for me,
Yeah.
And I was going, Sammy, pay attention to this. You
don't know how lucky you
don't
are.
know who you're dealing with here.
I remember, you might have some footage of it, doing a thing for Sports Cafe where I went down to the nets and had a net against the Kiwi team.
Yeah.
And they were all overstepping the mark by about a yard and bowling bounces.
Yeah.
And that wasn't particularly pleasant.
You bring that out in people.
Yeah.
But do you also remember?
Yeah. Like every ball was a thump,
Yeah, but then...
And Styrus was the worst. I mean, the pig overstepped the mark by about 3 paces, and he had a shoulder ball. He bowled into the wicket. And that was...
But then you made me go in the nets, and I had to face McMillan and Vittori. Like, I thought Vittori was quick. I was like, and then,
McMillan was a shoulder bowler too, man.
And then you lined the bowling machine up and let it go at my head.
Oh, well.
So
you got a cricketing background at all?
Clearly didn't get it.
No.
That's quite dangerous.
I'm a natural sportsman, so I can sort of, whatever the sport is, I can sort of deal with it.
I've met a few men recently that say that about themselves. Is that just like a general thing that goes on your
fair to say
CV
that-
along with everything? Like,
Well,
like the
that's,
height thing?
You know, on your Tinder profile, you tend to write,
Natural born athlete?
you know, these
Well,
sort of things.
they're yet to invent the sport that I'm being good at yet. But it'll be there.
I reckon you'd be fucking amazing down at like if you had, you know, the hydro slide, but just a poof, like the races. I saw these guys.
Like a hydro slide as a sport.
Yeah, but racing.
Right, okay.
Like
With a helmet? That's more
I
like
saw
cannonball.
these boys in up north there, these Maori fellas, and they were up on the elbows, just the elbows touching, and just one heel and arching their back, so they had zero friction, and they were quick, man. And guys like you, who you'd think, well, gravity says you're going to win this, they were eating them up because
Why
just
would I be good?
gravity,
Speed
Rick, you know,
and
it's
weight.
because you're large and you're going downhill, which is better than a
Aerodynamics.
feather going downhill.
Right.
Like a brick drops from a building faster than a feather.
Does it?
Well, should we go outside and drop one on your foot?
It doesn't. It's
Wait for the feather.
surface area. Because what I was going to say, the sport that you didn't really excel at is duck hunting.
Oh, no, I was pretty good at that.
Shooting or hunting?
Well, shooting hunting.
You're crawling up on it.
I thought you said you were going to say boxing then, but no, you came up with this. You see the thing about duck thing about duck shooting, it's a waiting game. You got to wait to get the ducks. They just don't hang out here all the time. Or they did until we started coming here and shooting them. He's ducks. How's the season been anyway?
We're down a few in other years. You'll remember the year. 2001 was it?
2001 was it? 2000. 2001. No, 2001.
Yeah, that was a magic year.
2002 was it? No, it was 2001. 2001. Hell of a year that one. Magic.
Did it go off on you then?
Yeah, I just kind of went off. I wasn't actually meaning to do that. Safety's a big part of this kind of stuff. You were shooting on the old Warrington 505 back then.
I was, yeah.
Good rifle.
Great rifle. Shotgun.
Yeah. And a shotgun.
Yeah.
The old 460.
1187 each.
Oh, yeah. And back then, you would have been on the old Wrangler.
Yeah, I had my Wranglers on, yeah.
You'd have been the Levi's, wouldn't you?
I've never let them go.
501s?
Red tab.
Red tabs, yeah.
They were a finer cut.
Yeah, the stovepipes, weren't they?
Nice gene, though.
The stovepipe or a boot cut?
Boot cut.
The boot cut, yeah.
Boot cut, yeah, a bit of wet.
They haven't been coming at all since I've been doing that, have they?
Then Eric says, my gun will shoot far further than yours will.
Oh, you bloody beauty! So I'm in the mimo there, right? And I say, just hold my nuts.
That was at the Wedderburn, is it?
Yeah.
So there's Central Otago.
Yeah, it's sort of quite south, isn't it? It's down
Ranfurly?
Ranfurly, yeah.
One of the guys in that group was 2 times nude day winner.
2 times?
Yeah.
He was the pig on the back.
Pig on the back, and I think he was also the bike rack.
Yeah.
True enthusiast.
God, I remember that was
Duck hunted.
had a huge night the night before.
Well, so you wake up at like 4 and it's straight to the whiskies down there, isn't it? You know.
So he had a
Just
big
to
night.
warm the
So
cockles.
not a great preparation.
No. I was in Queenstown the night before, or maybe even Auckland. I had to fly down that day and then do that.
The only time I went down to duck shooting was in Ranfurly.
Yeah.
And this is quite a funny story. Flew into Invercargill for some reason because we couldn't get into
Yeah, I think we did too.
Queenstown.
Yeah.
And hired a rental car. And we'd been filming with the cops the night before or the day before. And one of the police had given me one of those, you know, the fluoro jackets, the green with the blue. And so I hired a Commodore, a green Commodore, so I looked like an undercover cop. and I put the jacket over the seat and drove, flashing my lights behind people, and they'd look in the rear vision and see a police jacket, and they'd pull over and let me pass. I got from Invercargill to Ranfurly in 2 3/4 hours. It was meant to take 4:15. I passed one cop doing about 170, and I had the visor down. I just gave him the odd, and he flashed the lights on way back, and I just kept on going. And then we got there, and we were doing, it was a rather large night, and we went around the house. I won't mention the farm or the farmer's name, but we went around the house doing a bit of a time trial in the car. Woke up the next morning going, oh, geez, I better go and check on the car. The wire's hanging out of the wheels. Like, we've just balled the wheels. And I went, oh, shit. And so one of the boys stuck some new tyres on the back of it, and I took it back to the rental agency. I said, drove over a set of Harrows, popped the back tyres, so I've replaced them, don't worry about that. They reckon they put it on a hoist. Like something had been underneath it with a machine gun.
And he drove over Harrows.
Never allowed to hire a rental car from Avis again, anywhere in the South Island.
But the funny thing is, nowadays, this is what happens with this. People go, put in the jacket, the police jacket over the seat there. You wouldn't get away with that nowadays. What do you mean? You had to think of it back then. Like,
You weren't supposed to do it then.
Yeah, I reckon you've got more chance of getting away with it now because it's just so preposterous.
Totally.
But back then it was, yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone will get away with it now after you've told
You're not supposed to.
It worked for the first few people flashing. I thought, shit, so I'm just going to try my luck. So I just buried it, in chase of a good story, and it worked.
I wonder if there's a statute of limitations on that particular crime.
Well, it's not a crime. No proof. I could be
no,
just
but
bullshitting.
it's just a good
proof.
story.
You just told them.
Yeah,
but how do we know that he was telling the truth?
Could have made it up. This is a TV show. Tall story.
Probably one squad car between the two places as well.
Yeah.
Can we just say legally nothing that Marc says on the show is the truth?
I made it all up.
It's all a lie. And most of the time he's just acting.
Story.
Yeah. Another moment from the show that I think you do remember this is when we had that big guy, not me, the really big guy.
Chicken eater.
Zinny.
Yeah, that ate all the chickens.
Yes.
Yeah. He popped.
Actually, thinking,
didn't he?
He
He couldn't
exploded.
I
get.
don't think he did.
He did. He exploded.
He couldn't get off the stage like that. He had to go sideways.
He couldn't. His
know?
legs. His legs
was
had
like
to
a
walk
crab.
like he walked
Yeah.
like a duck. He could have been a giant duck.
Makes Zinny look pretty small, doesn't it?
Let's play it. Let's have a look.
I mean, Zinny
And
was a
Zinny's
large
got a
man.
massive head too.
Huge cranium.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit, like maybe 12 chicken breasts a day, and 3 pounds of beef, lots of eggs.
6 chickens, mate, you're knocking off in a day.
Yeah.
What's just the rundown of your day? I keep looking at the monitor over here, and I just... Just your routine for the day, like the start of the day. Can you give us quickly...
What are you clocking in at now?
I'm about 160 kilos right now.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
I usually have to get things tailor-made, but there's a special line of clothes sometimes for bodybuilders. It's one size fits all, so they're usually tight on me compared to other people. So.
Have you heard about the New Zealand bodybuilders? Do we have a good reputation worldwide?
Yeah. Looking at himself on TV.
I'm regarded as quite a big person here in New Zealand.
He looks like a bit tiny, doesn't he?
So Rick, that's how you carry 160 kilos.
So you think that I'm only 20 kilos lighter than that?
Yep.
How many chickens do you do a day?
How long would it
Six
take?
whole chickens.
How long would it take steroids to turn a human into a ginormous person like that?
I'm more worried about how long it takes steroids to destroy your plums.
Oh, they'd be gone, and they'd turn into nipples. Surely that's what happens. They just get sucked up and they
Your plums turn into nipples, do they?
pop out your chest. Guys would end up with enormous big nipples.
I got if I'm ever doing steroids.
Looks gross.
That sounds a lot worse than them
Really
just shrinking,
gross.
you know.
Yeah.
I reckon I could do that many chicken burgers from Popeyes.
Well, you've just eaten one.
Is it good? No, give it a serious rating.
Yeah.
Considering you didn't share it, that was
Popeyes-
really rude.
No, it's awesome actually.
Is it?
It's really nice. Yeah, unbelievable. And I think we should finish the show now so I can eat it.
Well, there's one show to go, Rick. Do we get any food on the next one?
Well, there's only DoorDash only giving us a certain amount of food, and there's only really enough food for one.
It's a shambles.
Right. Titles.